I received a message from a brother, and I'm just going to read that message out to you. Assalamu alaikum Tawfiq Bhai. This is probably my last message to you. As I lie here waiting for my last breath to go away, this is probably the last time I'm going to be able to write to anyone, and I thought I'd write to you so that perhaps when you teach your classes and when you give your lectures, you can remind people of this last lecture of mine. You have known me for a long time. I've just been a very basic Muslim, tried to do my prayers, tried to fast whenever Ramadan would come, tried to say my salah, did Hajj once in my life. Yeah, I had children but never really looked after them. I had a wife. She wasn't the most righteous person. I never really chose because of that. And my children grew up not knowing much about Islam. And as I wait here for the bell to go off, as my life will end, dying of pancreatic cancer, of which the doctors have said I cannot survive beyond this week. As I wait for the angel of death, I have only one word that comes in my mind, and that is regret. I just have this tremendous regret that there's so many things I wanted to do, I wanted to memorize the Quran and I never did so. I wanted to go for Hajj every year, but I never did that. I wanted to hug my mother, but I never did that. I wanted to teach my children Islam, the Quran, get them to be righteous people, but I never did that. I wanted to have the chance to have one more Ramadan, but I'll never get that. I wish I could be in Haram now, but I'll never get that chance. I wish I could know some verses of the Quran to recite, but I don't know anything except the Fatiha and one or two other surahs that I recite every day. All I can think of is huge regret. No one will remember me except you and perhaps my own family if they have time before they divide up my wealth. My friends have left me. My family will not remember me. I will have left nothing in this world of good. And by Allah, all I will have done is just added another grave on this earth. I am your brother, your Muslim brother, Muhammad. This is a brother that I used to know, that accepted Islam many, many years back. A new Muslim. However, he never really practiced Islam. He never really studied, never really learned. He never really did much with his life except that he just led his life like the vast majority of us. I'm sure you can remember people that perhaps we saw last Ramadan and we will never see this Ramadan. What if this is your last Ramadan? What if this is your last Ramadan? What will you do? If these days were the last days of Ramadan that you'd ever have, the last Laylatul Qadr, how would you spend it? My brothers and my sisters in Islam, is there anyone amongst us except that he feels empty in his heart? That there is something that he still needs to do. Some Quran that he wants to memorize, some people that he needs to help, some excuse that he needs to earn in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is there anyone amongst us except that we must feel like this? There is no good time to give sadaqah. The time is now. There is no good time to start praying. The time is now. There is no good time to read the Quran. Time is now. There is no good time to start memorizing the Quran. The time is now. There is no good time to look after orphans. The time is right now. There is no good time to call your mom and say sorry. The time is right now. Call her now and say, Mom, I'm sorry, Mom. Forgive me, mom. There is no good time to say to your friend that you have blemished and harmed. I'm sorry, my friend. The time is right now. There is no good time at all, my friends. The time is right now. The time must be now. Because by Allah, we don't know when we're going to live and when we're going to die. The real fear is that the very next thing that you do will be your last deed, and that will be how your death is sealed. And that nothing that you have done in the past will ever matter. So my brothers, my sisters in Islam, come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When was the last time you really connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When was the last time you really felt Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there for you? And if this is your last Ramadan, the best thing you can do is to connect with Allah Azza wa Jal, become His friend, by constantly remembering Him, constantly coming back to Him, constantly thinking about Him, constantly keeping your tongue moist with Allah and His remembrance and dua.